What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where in this one, we're going to talk a little bit about another one of our draft picks, getting to know fourth round pick Jaylen Travis, somebody that the Colts, from what you can hear in the behind the Colts little cinema that the Colts put together, the content they put together about the conversations they had leading up to the draft and when they were picking them, very, very high on them. And so if you enjoy this content, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you get notified for any videos dropping on this channel. But as we get into this one, looking at it, he, for some reason, listed behind Braden Smith at right tackle on ESPN. He did start a lot at left tackle, so that's where I expect him to be able to be. Could they move him around? Sure, I'm sure as a fourth round pick, he's a guy that's going to be willing to move around and be whatever they need him to be if he's going to be able to get on the field. So going to be interesting to see what the Colts seem to do here. Now, also on ESPN, Matt Savez was moved to right guard over Dalton Tucker, which is very interesting. Kind of curious where they're getting that and how that happens, but it should be interesting to see how that whole situation plays out. We really don't expect Jaylen Travis to touch the field this year, right? This is a mid-round guy, somebody that they expect to have very high upside. So that makes our tackles expendable, which is a very interesting thing as we continue to go forward, right? Gonçalves being there could make them expendable. And now you have Jaylen Travis, right? So what's the plan for the future at the tackle positions? Very interesting question. Now, Jaylen Travis, 6'7", 339. Okay, that just sounds big when you watch this dude and look at anything that you can find online about Jaylen Travis. Like, just some dudes look different on film. I've said that here plenty. Some dudes just look different. Jaylen Travis, for obvious reasons, stands out. He's a monster of a man, but he's also bodying these dudes. Like here at Iowa State, and you see so many highlights on the internet, and you know, you go look for Jaylen Travis, you're going to find more from Iowa State probably than you're going to find from Princeton. But dude's been moving bodies, right? He's 23 years old, and we're getting to the point where these rookies are going to start coming back down in age to 21, 22 years old. Jaylen Travis gets drafted at 23 years old, and just a monster of a man, somebody that obviously a little bit developmental, but this was a deep offensive line draft. Everybody that knows anything about high levels of football, right? Like people in the NFL, between pundits, scouts, GMs, everybody is talking about how offensive and defensive line was ridiculously deep in this draft. And I think that was evident by how many were getting picked from team to team. That's why it wasn't the most flashy draft. It wasn't the most crazy draft that we've ever seen. There were a lot of big boys getting taken. And we end up with Jaylen Travis in the fourth round. Again, a monster of a man. And if you watch this channel, you know how highly I think of Tony Spirano Jr. I think obviously his dad, one of the most legendary offensive line coaches in the NFL of all time. Right. And Tony Spirano Jr. is no different. He was with the Eagles and like helped form the Eagles into what they are. Right. He was there in that staff. He was helping that offensive line become great. Of course, they draft great players and help them become great over there. But Tony Spirano Jr. took what he learned over there. He's molded our offensive line to be better. Now, obviously, last year, a lot of injuries. There was a lot of instability on the offensive line and very up and down season last year. Some of it the offensive line's fault for the quarterback getting pressure. Some of it the quarterback's fault. Right, and you can put that on any of the quarterbacks that stepped in, and any of the offensive linemen that stepped in. Nobody was perfect. Quentin was as close to perfect as you could get. Bernie's getting a lot better, but the offensive line, did lack a little bit. I thought the rookies looked good, which is why Bortolini, we're good with going with him. I think going forward in the future, he's going to be good, and I'm excited to see again how the future unfolds with the tackle positions. I figure Braden Smith, he's taking a pay cut this year. Will he stay in the future? We'll have to see. Right? Is he going to take more pay cuts to try to stay on the Colts? He's going to try to go find a better opportunity elsewhere after the season. If he goes through an NFL season and decides he still wants to play, right? I'm sure that's something he's probably going to contemplate himself. But there's also Bernie, who I believe is in the last year of his rookie contract. What if they don't want to keep Bernie, right? They don't want to pay a left tackle, and then Jaylen Travis is our left tackle for the future, right? So the possibilities are definitely there of what we could do. Again, in the short term, not somebody we expect to get on the field. But I talked about Tony Spirano. Tony Spirano Jr. Sat here, and in the Behind the Colts, piece of content that they put out, there's a quote from him that says, "Guy's got natural power in his body. I just see some rare stuff in him. High lean mass, strength, length. He's the kind of kid you want to bet on." And if Tony Spirano Jr. has that kind of confidence in one of these guys, then I'm just going to assume this guy has it. Whatever Tony Spirano's seeing, if he's saying he got some rare stuff in him, I'm going to trust that. And I'm going to trust that, especially because he doesn't have to play right away. They can get his hands on him. They can get him used to going up against, right? We're going to have deep edge this year. He's going to be able to go up against some good competition as a number 2 tackle for us. So I think this is going to be a valuable draft pick in the future. Just going to be interesting to see, when does that bear fruit? Where does that bear fruit? And what does that look like in the future with the rest of this team, right? Is it AR? Is it Daniel Jones? Is it Arch Manning? What is it? What is it going to be as we go into the future with these new draft picks? Jaylen Travis could be an absolute monster. I think Jordan Mailata, when I watch him on film, just a big body guy, just dominating people, making it look easy out there at different times. So I really like the pick for what it could do for us in the future against 6'7", 339. Dude, I love big offensive linemen that know how to move their feet. Absolutely love it. And this guy, he has a athletic frame for as big as he is. Like, I'm looking at a picture of him, like, for 339. You would expect a little bit of a gut. It doesn't really look like he has much of a gut. Offensive lineman will have a gut, but he looks pretty. When Tony Spirano Jr. is talking about high lean mass, seems like he's just big, jacked, physical, good base underneath him, in his legs and in his lower body, which can create explosiveness and help against a power rush. So we're getting really excited about the pick, and I feel like I say that with every pick. I probably said it every pick last year. There's good and bad to go with everything, but in terms of, development and kind of what I see in different players, so far, man, I think the Colts kind of hammered out the first 4 picks as we've gone through these. I think a really solid job getting different needs that we talked about between the tight end, between getting more people on the edge, offensive line depth, right? You add to the secondary, and specifically the slot position, which is something we've talked about here on this channel. At some point, you got to find an answer behind Kenny Moore for, if he decides to retire soon, if he gets injured, whatever the case may be, you got to have a better answer than what we've rolled out there behind Kenny in the past. So really good job so far by the Colts. Jaylen Travis, no different. Like to know your guys' thoughts on Jaylen Travis, on this particular draft pick from the Colts. You let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Love hearing from you guys. Of course, again, if you enjoy the content, make sure you hit that like button, and also make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you get notified anytime we drop any content on this channel. Of course, appreciate you guys stopping by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.